안녕하세요. 여러분의 한국어 선생님 고빌입니다. Welcome back again to the now 5th part of this 7-episode series where I analyze each of the BTS members' Korean. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am a Korean teacher. I've been learning Korean now for almost 18 years, teaching it here on YouTube for over 10 years, and I can speak it fluently. And in this video, I'm going to share my professional analysis of Jimin's Korean. Specifically, I'm going to analyze how he sounds as a native Korean speaker, what sorts of dialect and common expressions that he uses, and he does have some unique expressions, and overall I'm just going to paint a picture of Jimin's personality for you through the way that he speaks Korean. And now, although I'm not perfect at Korean, since I'm not a native speaker, I will do the best that I can. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please give this video a like and subscribe. Or consider joining my Patreon page and sending me some more ideas for videos that I can make. So far, I've analyzed RM, Jin, Suga, and J-Hope. So now let's talk about Jimin, known in Korean as Park Jimin. Jimin was born in 1995 in the city of Busan, which is the second most populated city in Korea right after Seoul, and it's located in the southeast part of the country in an area known as the Gyeongsang province. Now, you may remember that Suga is also from that area, as is V and Jungkook, and we'll get to them next. In BTS, though, Jimin is a vocalist, and he's also well known for his dancing. In fact, he's also trained in ballet and contemporary dance from a young age. Okay, so now let me share my analysis of Jimin as a Korean speaker, and you're going to want to pay special close attention because once you Jim in, you can't Jim out. Overall, Jimin has a good sense of humor and seems to enjoy making jokes. I'd say he jokes as much as Jin does, but Jimin's jokes tend to be less cringy. But especially he likes to joke around by teasing the other members, as well as especially by getting angry at them in a playful manner. But there's something more significant about Jimin's speech, and that's how polite he sounds, even when he's angry.
탔네 아닙니까? 네, 괜찮습니다. 내 마음이 타는 냄새. 아, 왜 이렇게 냈어 너? 진영 때문이야. 그런 거 좀 보고 배우지 말라고 했잖아, 형이.
Jungkook asks him, "Don't you smell something on fire?" And then he says, "It's my heart," meaning my heart is burning for you. And Jimin replies, "What's wrong with you?" And Jungkook, of course, blames it on Jin, obviously. But the first thing Jimin says is, 왜 이렇게 됐어, 너? 왜 이렇게 됐어, 너? And this is a completely casual way of speaking. In fact, Jimin can only use the word 너, which means you, to his friends that are the same age as him or younger. So in BTS, that means that you'll only hear Jimin using this word 너 toward Jungkook or V. It would actually sound rude if he were to use it normally toward any of the other members. So the first thing that Jimin replies is just his immediate reaction to the joke. That's why he says 너. But the very next thing that he says is actually much softer sounding. 그런 것 좀 보고 배우지 말라고 했잖아요. 형이, didn't I tell you not to learn those things? Here, he's referring to Jin's cringy dad jokes, but his intonation overall sounds soft, and his sentence ends with 요, making his speech polite. Jimin didn't need to use this style of speaking with Jungkook since he's younger, and especially after Jungkook made a joke. But I found in my research that Jimin tends to prefer speaking more on the polite side. And here's another clip of Jimin using the word 너, this time to V.
근데 이게 이 소리 해야 재밌긴 하다.
아, 나 김태형을 알아. 미안해. 나 너를 알아. 어디 나온 거 같아? 아니.
아, 오케이.
날 뭘 알아?
야, 야, 네가 뭘 아냐?
네가 날 뭘 아는데?
네가 뭔데 알아?
뭔데 아는 척이야? 너 나 알아?
너 때문에 낚였잖아.
He says here, 나 김태형을 알아. 미안해. I know you, V. I'm sorry. And then he says, 난 너를 알아. So I know you, implying he knows that V is lying. And then after it's shown that Jimin was wrong and V was actually telling the truth, he gets attacked. Lovingly, of course, with lots of 너. But I'm not done. So here's another clip.
지민아 믿어?
믿죠, 형님?
지민아, 이기자.
지민아 믿어?
네, 형님.
So in this clip, Jin and Suga both move over to Jimin's side, and Jin asks him if he trusts him. And Jimin replies, 믿죠 형님. And then he replies, 예 형님. And these are very respectful ways of responding, even when they're all just joking right now. Typically to refer to an older male sibling or an older male friend, you would use the word 형 if you're male, or 오빠 if you're female. And then for older female siblings or friends, you would use 누나 if you're male, or 언니 if you're female. And 형 sounds respectful. In fact, just calling someone by their name when they're older than you can even be seen as rude. But there's also a second set of those words that's even more respectful, and that includes 형님. Now, 형님 has the same meaning as 형, but it shows even more respect toward the older person, such as an older friend. So instead of just 믿죠 형 or 예 형, he uses 형님 both times. Now, BTS are all friendly with each other, but Jimin still chooses to use this word 형님 occasionally because I think, again, that Jimin tends to prefer to sound more polite. And here's another example.
너 이쪽 팀이야?
네.
그래?
네.
형 이쪽 팀이에요?
두긴 적일 줄 알았어.
Here, Jimin is making a joke by saying he always thought Jin and J-Hope were playing the game as enemies. And after he confirms that they're on the same team, he says, I thought you were enemies. But even in his surprised reaction here, his voice sounds calm and polite. And this contrasts a lot with Jin and J-Hope who are next to him, just laughing. And I have even more proof that this is the case. Here's a clip of Jimin speaking to his parents.
엄마 방송 촬영 중이에요. 깻잎김치 만들어야 돼요. 깻잎이 다 절여져 있거든요. 오케이, 어머니 알겠습니다.
Typically, very young children will be taught to speak to their parents using polite speech, kind of as practice for how they're supposed to speak to other adults. But when they grow up, most adults these days simply speak more casually, although not disrespectfully, but casually toward their parents. This means not needing to end their sentences with 요, not using many honorifics, and so on. And while some people still choose to speak politely to their parents as adults, it's much less common. But for Jimin, I'm not surprised at all that he speaks politely to his mom. His voice sounds overall gentle, and all of his sentences sound respectful. Just know that nowadays this isn't the norm. So while he definitely doesn't have to be, he often chooses to sound more polite, at least when he's not joking.
무지개 어때?
나 했던 거?
너 무지개 썼어?
뭐 하시는 거예요?
Here, J-Hope jokes that he didn't know Jimin once had rainbow hair, as if it's a huge surprise. So Jimin replies with, 뭐야? Basically, what's that? And asks him, what kind of a question is that even? 뭐야 is completely casual speech, and typically you wouldn't use casual speech to someone who's older than you, even if you're friends. Since J-Hope is a year older than Jimin, this could be seen as a bit rude, but in the case of BTS, since all the members are so close, like family members, they'll occasionally lower their speech when just joking around. And I wanted to show you that even though Jimin tends to speak more politely than the other members, he's no stranger to goofing around and lowering his speech to sound more friendly. In fact, not just Jimin, but I'd say that oftentimes the members tend to speak to each other, more like a family and less like just friends. And that makes sense when you consider how much time they've been spending together while training. Okay, so I've shared now how Jimin talks in general, but there are two things that he does or he says nonstop. And the first one is, well, let's just see if you can guess.
어디까지든 가고 싶다는 생각을 참 많이 하는 것 같아요. 자유롭다는 느낌을 뭔가 받기 힘드실 것 같은데요. 가장 먼저인 것 같아요. 가장 중요한 것 같아요. 그런 것 같아요. 저는 되는 것 같아요. 좀 생길 수 있는 것 같아요. 친구라는 건 좀 그런 것 같아요. 어린 부분이 있는 것 같아요. 키워드가 꼭 있어야 될 것 같고 제가 하는 일에 어려운 부분은 없었던 것 같아요.
This ending, 것 같아요, is a common way of expressing I think, and there's nothing unusual about it. I use it all the time too. But what's unique about Jimin is that he uses this way more often than you need to.
2015년에 참 추억이 많았던 것 같아요. 예쁜 추억들이 많았던 것 같아요.
So the way you use this form is you just attach it right after any sort of adjective. So if you wanted to say, I think it's good, then you get the adjective for good, which is 좋은, and you get 좋은 것 같아요. I think it's good. But in Korean, expressing your thoughts isn't quite the same as it is in English, because in Korean, saying I think also makes your sentence sound a little bit less direct and a little bit softer. So if Jimin were speaking English, a lot of his sentences would sound like, in my opinion, it's good, in my opinion. And once you know this, pay attention to when he speaks because he uses this expression all of the time.
대화를 하는 게 좋아서 그런 것 같아요.
Oh, hey, look, it's a letter Jimin wrote to his fans. This is from last January for the new year, and I can see several 것 같아요 already on the fourth line. 되어버린 것 같아, as well as the end of that same line, 했던 것 같아요. So twice in one sentence. I have to say that Jimin's handwriting is really interesting to me. It's both stylistic like a poem, but it also reads like an announcement. I like how he writes his vertical vowels as well, especially they're nice and long. He writes the syllables also very close together, but everything is still separated just enough, so it's still quite easy to read. Oh, and if you're wondering, I also looked over all of the members' notes, not just Jimin's, but all of the others. And Jimin wrote his letter the most formally. For example, look at the very first line. 아미 여러분, 지민입니다. Hello, Army. I am Jimin. And he uses this 니다 ending, which is a formal ending, and it makes his letter sound almost official. It's polite sounding. Here, just some quick examples. 진심으로 바랍니다. So I truly hope. Or this one, 간절히 바라겠습니다. I will sincerely hope that. And another, 진심으로 감사합니다. So I truly thank you. So like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And he chooses many of these more formal adverbs like 진심으로 and 간절히 over more common ones like 정말, and I think that just shows how much he cares about his overall tone. Now, there's another expression that I've heard him also use often, not as much as 것 같아요, but still often, and that is 면 좋겠다.
기분 좋게 그냥 들어주셨으면 좋겠어요. 받아들여주셨으면 좋겠어요.
This form is a common way to express that you hope for something, and the way it works is that it attaches after a verb stem with either 면 or 으면. So I hope it rains, 비가 오면 좋겠어요, or I hope I can go. 제가 갈 수 있으면 좋겠어요. And Jimin also likes using this expression too. My guess is for the same reason, because it also sounds a bit soft. So just keep an eye out for this one. Oh, look! Another letter from Jimin. This letter he wrote it to himself. It's quite long, and he wrote 2 pages to himself. Of course, you'll find some 것 같아요 forms in here, but you'll also find toward the bottom this sentence. 그래도 행복했으면 좋겠고. So I hope you'll be happy regardless. And if we go to the next page and look at the first 2 sentences here, again, 털털해졌으면 좋겠다. So I hope I can be more easygoing. And also, if we go on in the very next line, this one's a bit long though. 남들 앞에서는 좋으면 좋다. 싫으면 싫다 하면서 혼자 생각을 뭐 그렇게 많이 하는지 모르겠다. 생각 안 하는 것도 필요한 거다. So if we translate all of this, we get something like, I don't know why I think so hard to myself whenever I tell someone that I like something or that I don't like something. It's also necessary to not think sometimes. We can learn a bit more about him through this letter. It seems he might be a bit of a perfectionist and thinks about stuff a lot, and this might be one of the reasons why he tries to speak extra politely. But that's just my opinion. Don't quote me on that. Or do quote me and then tell them to go watch this full analysis video. So he uses this 면 좋겠다 form one more time in this letter, but that's enough for this part of this video because we still have one more really large topic to analyze, and that's what I'm sure you're all waiting for, Jimin's dialect.
재영 나온다. 머리 좀 세라. 뭐 짱뜬다. 무시해서 정답뿐이.
Again, Jimin is from the city of Busan, which is actually where I used to live in Korea, and Busan is known for its coastal views, but also for its unique dialect. Now, again, most of the time when Jimin speaks, just like the other members, he's not using any dialect whatsoever.
해봐요. 나도 엄마 전화 안 받는데.
So you can hear he's using a little Busan intonation, but the words that he's using are all just standard Korean. Now, when he does use his full dialect, it's usually just to joke around. And he does that a lot.
와 이러노? 없다고.
없다고.
가지고 있다고. 뭐해라?
In fact, even Jimin's friend told him that he doesn't sound like he's from Busan anymore, except for his intonation.
친구한테 얼마 전에 전화해봤거든요. 야, 내 말투 어떤 너? 이러니까 니 완전 서울말이다. 내 역수로 지금 사투리 다 써가지고 지금 니랑 말하고 있다 아이가 이러는데 니는 서울말에 뒤에 가만 붙이고 있다. 정국 씨. 설 연휴 때 부산에 내려가니까
그죠?
와, 이 부산 친구들이 우리를 보면서 와, 이제 서울 사람 다 됐네. 어떻습니까? 여러분이 봐도 저희 사투리가 많이 고쳐진 것 같지 않습니까?
And that makes sense because keep in mind that Jimin's been away from Busan for such a long time now and probably doesn't have many chances to even use his dialect, even to his own parents.
엄마 방송 촬영 중이에요. 깻잎 김치 만들어야 돼요. 예, 깻잎 절이는 거 맞잖아요.
In this clip, he just sounds like Jimin, and he's using standard Korean. But all of this doesn't mean that Jimin doesn't use dialect, and it certainly doesn't mean that he can't.
어디서 왔는데?
오.
서울 와가.
오.
뭐 함 하자고. 가라 그냥. 혹시 막 다리 뭉개 다 부수기 전에. 어?
I mentioned this in the episode about Shuga, but I'll briefly go over it again. But one of the main features of dialects in the Gyeongsang province, which includes Busan, is a quick wave-like intonation, while standard Korean is more flat and smooth. Another thing to look out for is sentences with the endings no, na, ko, and ka, which are question endings. For example, in this clip, Jimin says, 장난하나, are you kidding? And then 왜 이러노, which is Busan dialect for 왜 이래, so what's wrong with you? Now, the verb ending na is used for asking yes or no questions, while the no ending is used when you're asking questions that have words such as who or what or why. Another feature of this dialect is simpler pronunciation, so you might hear the vowels o and pronounced in the same way. And Jimin does this too by pronouncing the word 없다 as upda. But it's not always intentional usage, and Jimin himself has said that he's not able to completely fix his dialect.
쉽지는 않으실 것
예.
아, 근데 왜 사투리가 안 붙이시나?
Typically, celebrities, no matter where they're from, when they appear on TV, will try to speak how everyone else is speaking, and that will be standard Korean. But Jimin seems to have difficulties with that, and his dialect can sometimes slip out even when he doesn't want it to, such as in this clip. Sorry, Jimin, but it just might be impossible for you to fix your dialect. But don't worry, because we like it. It's not like anyone wants you to fix it. I could probably fill up another 5 minutes just with clips of Jimin yelling. Now I kind of want to, but it wouldn't be fair to the other members, so that's it for this time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more. And if you would also like to support me in making more videos like these, please consider joining my Patreon page or becoming a member on my channel. In fact, it was a supporter who originally asked me to make this whole video series about BTS's Korean, and I will put links for how you can support me in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐!